Okay. So last week we saw the first and the second. Om Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapad Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishthad Dashangulam Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Yad Bhutan Yaccha Bhavyam Utamritatvasya Yadannena Tirohati. Third one. Etavanasya mahima ato jayagischa purushah padosya vishva bhutani tripadasya divi. So he's described the first two verses. Purusha is described as this cosmic being, Virata Purusha. The cosmic being that is seen everywhere and always present. That is how we presented in the first two verses. And then the Rishi is going on to explain about how creation has occurred through him. How the process of creation occurs through this Purusha, he is trying to present. But at the same time, he is also not leaving off the fact that he is still this transcendental Purusha. Okay. So this Purusha that is described as Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishthad Dashangulam. So which this Purusha that is everywhere. In the first verse, he gives a hint, he is Atyatishthad Dashangulam. In the Mudgala Upanishad, the explanation is he is in the heart. Right? So he is near the heart, he is actually in the heart. With the Dashangulam, with the 10 fingers spacing that we saw between our the place of origin and within our body also, you would take 10 fingers from the navel, from the Manipuraka chakra, from the navel to the Anahata. You keep everybody, your own hand, if you keep 10 fingers, roughly that is the distance where between the heart and the stomach. So he is saying that he is present here. But then he also mentions about his presence in every part of time. Right? He is present everywhere and every when. This is what we saw in the first two verses. And now he is trying to explain that same Purusha that is transcendental, how is he creating this whole universe? So in our experience, he is saying, this Purusha that you are experiencing in this world is only a quarter. One quarter. So he first starts saying, Asya etavan asya mahima ato ataha jayayancha purushaha. So this Purusha that you are experiencing here, that I explained as this Purusha that is everywhere and every when, this Purusha that you are seeing is much greater than what you are experiencing. Saying don't just restrict this Purusha that you are experiencing here as Sahasra Shirsha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, and he is Yad Bhutan Yaccha Bhavyam. So the one who is everywhere, that you are experiencing him as everywhere, is not restricted to your area of perception. Which means he is not just present here. Etavanasya Mahima. This is his Mahima, this is his greatness. Jayayancha Purusha. This Purusha that you are thinking that is here is much greater than this. Much greater than this. How is he greater? Then he goes to explain Pado osya vishva bhutani tripadasya divi. So he says this, that Purusha that you are experiencing is only a quarter amsha. He is an amsha of the whole. Because the 3/4 of this Purusha you don't even know. It is not possible for us to understand the 3/4 of this cosmic principle that we are talking about. Understand? Which means if you think, like for example, for us, this would happen in many people's cases, right? If you think you're very close to a guru, and you're a guru, and you have very close to a guru, and you think you know the guru, and then you think that you know everything about the guru, and you understand the guru very well, and then suddenly the guru will behave in a certain way, and that will baffle you. இப்படி ஏன் பண்ணார் அவர் அப்படின்னு யோசிப்போம். It's very and then the guru would say that you think you know me. You don't. Although சில பேர் சொல்லுவா, I've been with you, Gurudev, for like 30 years, 40 years, but that doesn't make anything. You still don't know me, because there are aspects of me that I don't reveal to you. And this is also interesting. You will see there are people who will not get along with each other, but they will be devoted to the same guru. So the same guru will be able to engage with two different people who can't engage with each other. Correct? We've seen these things. Be it some guru, some teacher, some master, some so it's the same Bhagavan, for example. இது ஜோக்குக்கு ஒரு ஸ்டோரி சொல்லுவாரு. ஒருத்தர் வந்து there's somebody who will come to a temple. He is a trader or a merchant. He'll say, இன்னைக்கு நல்ல business வரணும் அப்படின்னு, I should get prosperous business today. பகவானே, I pray to you ன்னு சொல்லி தேங்காய் உடைச்சிட்டு போவோம். Which means I should get a lot of wealth today. And then அவன் போன அப்புறம் பின்னாடி there'll be a professional thief, a burglar. இன்னைக்கு நல்ல ஆசாமி கிடைக்கணும் எனக்கு திருடுறதுக்கு. அவன் ஒரு தேங்காய் உடைச்சிட்டு போவோம். So பகவான் listen to both. உனக்கு நல்ல காசு கிடைக்கட்டும், நீ அவங்ககிட்ட இருந்து காசு எடுத்துக்கோ. So both are satisfied. But both are contrary to each other, right? But this is the way when the world operates this way. We are able to see that many people who are of completely different differing opinions, differing characters, differing attitudes, we are able to exist in the same faith or the same belief system, is because something interesting is happening to both of us independently. And so if you think you know Krishna the best, I worship Krishna throughout my life, I know Krishna, he'll say you are mistaken. There are aspects of me that I've never revealed to you, which you will never see, because it is not necessary for you. But don't restrict me with your own experience. I am not restricted. I am not defined by the experience you have of me. Tripadasya divi. So he says there are aspects, 3 parts of the Purusha, which is transcendental, which is not even available for our experience, because it is avyakta, unmanifest. So the aspect of avyakta, the aspect of vyakta is what we are experiencing. That which is manifest is what we are experiencing. And even in this, we don't know, right? I mean, just look at the expanse of this universe. How much do we understand? We still have agencies like SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. There's an organization called SETI, which keeps searching. For the last 60 years, they've been doing this. It was set up about 60 years ago, 60, 70 years ago by the US. They're still searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. ஏதோ ஒரு பிளானட்ல எங்கேயோ is some galaxy or some planet somewhere having some intelligence which we human beings can communicate with. Right? So that level of Correct. Even sea life, for that matter, nobody knows even. Yeah, absolutely. Sea life, we have no idea what is the depth of the ocean. Nobody's been able to measure the depth of the ocean. Really, right? And so there is so much even within this world that we don't know. And even if you do, what about the other planets and the other galaxies? And even if you happen to know that, he says there are so many more things that you don't even know. Like the lokas we talk about, right? Our experience is only bhu, maybe bhuvaha, because of the Pitru Loka, and maybe Suvaha because we are praying to those deities. We don't know the Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam, those lokas we have no experience of. So the why is this mentioned here is important for us to know that yes, my experience is very profound in terms of I experience this Purusha everywhere, but this Purusha that I experience everywhere is not contained in my experience. Or rather, my experience cannot contain this Purusha that I'm experiencing. So humility sets in to understand that this is far greater than what my intellect or my experience can contain. And that is why many times those who've had very profound experiences, they will not be able to put it in words. Words will always fall short of your experience because it is something that you will not be able to transmit to somebody else. That is why even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, how much ever he explained to Vivekananda or Narendra when he was there as Narendra, that there is God right here. So, Narendra asked Ramakrishna, Gurudev, do you see Rama and Krishna here right now? He said, yes, I see them much more clearer than I see you. Because to see you, I need the faculties of the eyes, and the eyes are constrained. If there is less light, I can't see you. It's too bright also, I can't see you. And if you are turned the other way, this way, that way, I can't see you. But Krishna and Rama, I can see them right now, right here, all the time, much more clearer than I can see you. Then Narendra asked, how do I understand this? And then he tried to explain, no point in explaining. Then he kicked him in his chest. The story goes like that. He kicked him in his chest or he did something. And then he went to Samadhi for 3 days, Narendra. Now that experience of Samadhi, he cannot come out and explain that to anybody. Likewise, Ramakrishna was not able to explain to him beyond a certain point. He gave him the experience. And there are Mahans like this who can give the experience, who can transmit experience. Ramana used to do Chakshu Diksha. When they go, a lot of people will think that Bhagavan has not given anything. But Bhagavan has given Chakshu Diksha. By the eyes, by looking at the individual, he is implanted spiritual seeds. He is given that Diksha, that knowledge. So like this, the experience that you are having is not easy to communicate. And which means for you also to acknowledge this as an experience, you should be in a certain state. To be able to experience a refined experience, your mind should be in a refined state. Yes or no? You can't be in a state of agitation unless you are agitated to such an extent, then there is an experience there. See, this is the most important thing. Always we have to look at. Either you are at a state of complete calm and a state of the mind is at a place where it can experience the subtle, or you activate it so much that at a certain point, it's like a fan going around, right? The blades of the fan, when they're very fast, all you see is a disc. So you are so activated, so agitated, and so the movement is so high within you that there is some experience. There's an explosion that happens. There is either explosion or implosion. These are the only two things that can happen in you. Implosion is complete inward absorption. Explosion is complete external merger. So you merge on the outside or you dissolve in the inside. There's a very interesting in the study of the chakras. One aspect in the Agnya chakra, this is mentioned. In the Agnya chakra, when the Agnya chakra opens up, there can actually either be an implosion or an explosion. Which means at the Agnya chakra, you can completely dissolve inside within you, which means the whole focus and the whole attention goes inwards. Or there can be this complete explosion that happens on the outside, which means everything you see and experience on the outside is one, including you. Several people have spoken about such experiences. In fact, this Swami Paramahamsa Nityananda, one of the most controversial Swamis, his very, very early times, he was from Tiruvannamalai. Very, very early times, he had a Samadhi experience in Tiruvannamalai. When he was sitting, he used to do his sadhana and all of that, but he used to be a very intense person in terms of his sadhana. And then he had this experience of explosion, where suddenly everything around him became like him, or rather, he was not able to differentiate between this body and the external. He could feel the stone. I mean, he was sitting on a rock. He couldn't differentiate between himself and the rock. It just felt like this whole thing was his body. He was not able to eat. He said it took him a few days to get out of that. He was not able to eat because he felt like he's eating his hand. Because the food felt like him. You understand everything? So everything around him, that experience was of an explosion. Everything on the outside was like him. Swami Vivekananda had an implosive experience. Implosive means everything within him. So completely inside him, he went into deep samadhi, where there is this whole experience of unity and oneness was there within. There's nothing on the outside. All experiences are within. So what we are talking about is these experiences are something that is within your ambit, your state of being. So how do you experience this Purusha is in your own way. For each person, I spoke about the differences to say for each one it's different. So one cannot claim that even though I am realized, even though I have had some experience, one cannot claim that, oh, I know the Purusha. So the Rishi is saying, even I don't know the Purusha completely, because there are three parts of him which I don't know. It's avyakta. Pado osya vishwa bhutani. There's only a quarter of him which is in this world, in this earth. Bhutani. Bhuta means the created world. Bhuta doesn't necessarily mean just planet Earth. Bhuta means everything that has been created. The manifest. A quarter of him is the manifest. 3/4 is unmanifest. Okay. And then we go to the fourth one. The fourth one is also an extension of the third one. Okay. Tripadurdhva udait purushaha. So 3/4 remains outside. Tripadurdhva Udait Purushaha. Padosyeha bhavat punaha. Only that quarter of him repeatedly, punaha, 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 repeatedly becomes this manifest world. Which means there is a 3/4 of him that is unmanifest. A quarter of him manifests, dissolves back. So sthiti, laya. Sthiti, srishti, laya. So there is srishti of that quarter portion, there is srishti, and then there is laya. When there is dissolution, it dissolves back into the whole. And from the whole, again a quarter comes out, the whole creation happens. Again srishti, then again laya, pralaya, goes back into the whole. Right? So here there is an interesting, so there is a line from Bhagavad Gita that I found was interesting here. So I've written it in that text if you're able to, you've got the text. Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekamshena sthito jagat. Eka amshena sthito jagat. One portion of me, eka amsha, one amsha of me, this jagat is created. Krishna is saying that. Eka amshena. Eka amshena sthito jagat. And the same thing, so this line, when Sri Ramanuja, he did his bhashya on the Bhagavad Gita, he describes it. He describes that a part of me, an infinitesimal fraction of my power. Of course, the way he talks about is infinitesimal fraction. See, pada doesn't necessarily mean just a quarter, a portion of the universal principle. Ek amshena sthito jagat. So from that portion, he says, idam chit achit atmakam kritsnam jagat karyavastham karanavastham sthulam cha sukshmam cha swarupa sadbhave sthito pravritti bhede cha yatha mat sankalpam na ativartate. My sankalpa does not get disturbed. Now ativartate tatha mama mahimnaha. That is my greatness. Ayutamshena vishtabhya aham avasthitaha. Just an amsha of me, I am this whole creation. And because of that, it does not disturb me. It does not infect me in some way or the other. Or in no ways does that infect me. Right? So this is important to understand, is to say that this whole creation, that there is, it's almost like saying
the cause effect, yeah. Cause effect, causeless cause.
Causeless, yeah. That the causeless cause is the tripadurdhva, the tripadasya. Now, the one, so the creation that happens, that's very important to understand, that does, like for example, Narayana and Vaikuntha. Okay. Narayana and Vaikuntha creates 4 vyuha, chaturvyuha forms: Aniruddha, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. There are 4 forms that he creates for functioning of the world, functioning of the creation. But Narayana himself is untouched. The Adi Purusha Narayana himself is untouched. If you look at it that way, the Vaishnava explanation to creation is like this. And these vyuha forms are the ones that come into the creation, and then they go back into paravyuha. Para, they go into para. Again, there are 5 forms of the cosmic principle, Purusha, right? Para is the unmanifest, Avyakta. Then you have Vyuha. Then you have Vibhava. Then you have Archa and Antaryami. Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Archa, Antaryami. These are the 5 forms he takes, 5 expressions. Para is the unmanifest. Vyuha are these principles that manage creation. Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. These are 4 forms that manage creation. Then comes the Vibhava. Vibhava is where he takes a avatara. The para takes an avatara and comes down. And then, not even the para, from the Vyuha, there is an avatara that comes down. Then, Archa. Archa is the way he is installed in temples, etc., for worship. And then Antaryami, which is within us, within each living being. In fact, the Ayudhas, the Panchayudhas that Bhagavan has is also considered to be an Amsha of Bhagavan. The Ayudhas that Bhagavan has, the weapons that he carries, those are also considered to be the Amsha of Bhagavan. So which means Bhagavan or the Para or the Tripa Urdhva or Tripadasya, Tripada, the 3 quarters of him remains in Vaikuntha as it is. This is the understanding. And which means that is the one that is governing everything, this whole creation. And even the pralaya that happens only to the Vyuha, Vibhava, Archa and Antaryami. There is no pralaya for the para. The 3 quarters, there is no pralaya for that. That is ever existing. The pada, the fraction, the amsha that has come out is the one that goes through Shrishti Pralaya cycle. And what he says is that, what does he say? Mat sankalpam na ativartate. Ramanuja is saying it does not impact me in any way. Which means the principle, the cosmic principle is not impacted, which means namakku enna aanalum avarku kavala kadayadu, literally. Whatever happens to you or me, nobody cares. Nobody cares what happens to you in a certain way. Right? Whether we live today, whether we suffer today, whether we die or we are joyful, we are happy. You think that transcendental being is going to care about it? We were talking about the other day. Sun is responsible for the plants growing on earth. And if a plant is going to decay, is the sun going to feel bad? The whole planet Earth flings off into space, sun will not care. Although the earth is sustained by the sun is not going to care if the earth is going to fling off. What does it mean is that it doesn't mean that we are just left hanging here, nobody to take care, it's a depressive state. No. What it means is, of course, there is Bhagavan that is there operating in and through. But understand, we are also responsible for what we are. This is a very important thing. A lot of people think that I am on the spiritual path, I am in bhakti, I am in devotion, I am devoted, and I can do whatever I want. Or I cannot do. Action, inaction, both. People, they say Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam, Pandradallam Pandita Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam Children. But Pandradhi, you are not doing it for Krishna's joy, you are doing it for your own joy. And then philosophically, they'll also argue, hey, he's Antaryami, he's inside only, he's only creating this desire for him, me, so I am doing it for him only inside me. But when the consequence comes, where there is struggle, there is strife, there is humiliation, there is disharmony, whatever, there is struggle when it comes. And at that time, you don't want to take it. Take it, no, Bhagavan has given you. Bhagavane ஏன் டென்ஷன் கொடுக்குறன்னு தான் கேட்குறோம். We always ask, ஐயோ பகவானே why are you giving me tension? பகவானே இந்த சந்தோஷம் ஏன் கொடுக்குறன்னு கேட்க மாட்டேங்கிறோம். We never ask, oh பகவானே why are you giving me this joy? Do I deserve it? Please give it to that person, no? பாவம். Why are you only giving me so much comfort? We are always careful about not losing the comfort we have. We are always worried about not losing the comfort. Why? Because, and then we will, because that fear is always there. We are not able to just let go in his presence and say that whatever you give is prasada. To be able to experience that, and then you know that, yes, now I have completely surrendered. And that surrender, when that surrender happens, and from that space, when you say, he is the one governing everything, he is doing everything, then it's fine. The very important thing that I'm discussing in certain other forums, where I realize that it's very easy for people to let go of their accountability or responsibility of their action. And you can use it in stupid ways. You can say, oh, it is Bhagavan who inspired me. Bhagavan made me act this way. And there may be consequences that you will get, which may not be immediate also. Consequences may come 5 years, 10 years later. But when that consequence comes, you will never say that, you will never be able to relate back to the nonsense that you did. You will always hold somebody else accountable for the difficulty you are going through. It is because of this person I am going through this difficulty. It's because of this person I am going through this difficulty. No, it is never like that. Your own actions, whether now or earlier in previous lifetimes, your own actions create environments for you where you struggle. And that environment could be created by any set of people around. It could be any set of people. But it's your own creation. I mean, this accountability is something that people keep losing sight of. How do you get out of it is something, it's a different conversation. But that which has happened is because of whatever actions I've done. Somewhere I have left the action, I've forgotten the action to consequence correlation. How can you forget it? How can we forget the action to consequence correlation and do any action and I say that it is Bhagavan inspired, Bhagavan told me to act this way, and letting go of your accountability of that action, there will be a consequence. And this is where then people go into different, then we keep searching for solutions. Who will help me? Who will save me? Who will... Because the whoever will come, they cannot defy this particular principle that is in operation, which is really the Tripadurdhva, the one who is there as Tripada, He really doesn't care about what is happening here. He is given an amsha of himself to go figure out. And then your experience of that amsha in your life and in your environment and in your experiences. But remember that your accountability is not lost. And dissolution into that is also your account. That's your action. Surrendering is also your action. And surrendering means always remember all those saints and sages who have surrendered in devotion did not have a comfortable life. This is something that we need to please understand. None of the saints or sages who have completely devoted themselves, they have not had a comfortable life. Kalpaka talks about Sai Satcharita. You think Sai Baba had a very comfortable life? I'm reading the beautiful book on Kabir. All his dohas are explained. I mean, at least the key ones are explained very beautifully. He had a comfortable life? No. But he was always engrossed in Rama, Rama, Allah, Rama.
In fact, Sai Baba was so pissed off at the end. He was trying to unite Hindus and Muslims. He got so upset. Then he took off all his clothes and stood near the fire, and he was saying, have a look at me, and now you can decide for yourselves whether I'm Hindu or Muslim.
Ayyo. My God.
He's so upset.
Oh my God. I didn't know of that episode. Interesting. But that is true, right? No, none of them had. So imagine, don't think that if you're any very devoted and very this thing, you will have a very beautiful, comfortable, joyful, and just, all roses and flowers falling everywhere, spring season. Life will not be like that all the time. The spring should be inside. The experience of spring, the Vasanta Kalam, the Vasanta should be experienced here. Right? That experience is important. That experience is the man sitting there, the Tripada person is not going, that Purusha is not going to care about it. See, this is the point that we need to take from here. There is an Amsha of Bhagavan that is operating in the manifest world. Yes, that is the Amsha that we are associating, we are reflecting upon, we are connecting, we are experiencing, etc. But also remember, there is an aspect of the same, the source, which actually doesn't care. And why? So it's so true. Why should it care? Because all of this you've created. You've created all of this. Figure out. The one who has the strength to deal with his actions and the consequences of his action is truly a spiritual sadhaka. Not somebody who is looking for a fantasy world, right? You don't get a fantasy world either outside or inside. You won't get a fantasy world. You may get an experience of fantasy inside. அப்படின்னு அதுக்கப்புறம் டக்குன்னு வயிறு கொஞ்சம் கிருங்கும் கேஸ் கலப்போம். You have to go look for food. Who's going to give you food? Even people who do intense sadhana sitting in the Himalayan ranges, in Uttarkashi, in Gangotri, in all of these places, they are also not out of this conditioning. Right? They do intense sadhana, but there are situations where they are also faced with this truth that, like for example, if a mendicant or a sadhaka is doing some sadhana and is coming into the local town for bhiksha, if he is not able to handle the humiliation, he is not able to handle the the way he's treated in the town, then that is also something that he needs to work upon. Then he needs to take back and see that when I go into the town, and if there are two people who are humiliating me or making fun or insulting me of the great sadhana that I'm doing, and I feel insulted, then you have got to take that back and work upon it.
I think the sadhana had been intense, he would not be the dvandam. The differentiate பண்ணாத படிக்க போய்டும் அவங்களுக்கு இல்லையா?
So that is the correct. So that important thing is to be able to relate to that. So I'm saying even such people are not out of the same conditionings that we are here sitting. Although they are in a much better place because they are able to recognize these things within them, because that's what they're doing. They're spending a lot of time in internal retrospection and exploration. But the important thing is for us, because we are very much external focused, our ability to do this, ability itself has gone down significantly. So you have to bring up this ability. So I'll close now. What the main important thing that we are discussing here is, yes, etavanasya mahima ato jayagascha purushah tripadasya tripadasya vishwa bhutani. Tripa, what is that? Padosya vishwa bhutani tripadasya amritam divi. So the pada is here, the tripada is amritam divi. It is immortal, unchangeable, para. Then tripadurdhva udait purushah padosya
पादोस्य इह भवत् पुनः
padosya he padosya iha abhavat punah. So repeatedly this keeps, the pada, the quarter, keeps creating itself as what? As different forms that come out of this. Tataha vishwam vyakramata. Different forms come out of this. Sa ashanaha anashanaha. Ashanaha is animate, that which eats or consumes. The animals that consumes or a creature that consumes is a ashanaha. Anashanaha is a creature that does not consume, which means it is inert. So the rock and the worm under the rock, both are coming out from the same Purusha. This Vishwam Vyakramat. There are different forms that come out of this. And then these forms are as part of creation. From the Samsha, these forms are created. Ashnati, what is this, ma, Kalpaka?
இந்த ஒரு verb இருக்குல்ல அஷ்னாத்தினா அதுதான் அதுல இருந்து
Ama, correct. But the root word also means to consume. That which moves also consumes, eats. Because it's able to consume, it moves. So Sashanana Shane Abhi. So there are these things that get created out of Abhi, means comes forth from the Purusha. The Pada, the Padamsha of the Purusha, all of this creation happens. Right? This is what the Rishi is trying to say. But from our standpoint, the Rishi is also pointing out there is a 3/4 part of this cosmic principle that is out there, which means there are aspects of this great cosmic principle we will never understand. We will only understand that which comes into creation, that which is part of our experience. But recognize this and understand this, there will be always a part that you will not understand. You will not be able to experience as this limited being that you are. So with that humility, with that understanding, and also understand that there is this cosmic principle that actually is not impacted by any of this creation, which means you have to fend for yourself. God helps those who help themselves. Either they are saying somewhere, I've read this, right? So we have to take up the sankalpa that I want to live the right life. I want to have the right focus. I want to bring Bhagavan into the center of my life. This is my focus, my attention. And then with that, I also understand that all the actions that I take, all decisions that I make is based on, it should be from that place. So I was telling someone the other day, all the activities that we do in the day, from the time we get up, should be an activity that enables the sadhana that we are doing. Because sadhana should be central to our life. Bhagavad Chintanam should be central to our life. Experiencing the God presence should be central to our life. And everything else, whether I am taking care of my family, whether I am going to earn, whether I am doing some job, whether I am doing some business, whether I am doing some any other activity that I'm doing, I'm doing recreational activity, and whatever I am doing, I should know these should be enabling this to happen. See, I work a lot and I become exhausted, and I come, why do I work? So that I earn, so that I can be comfortable. So I come and rest and I relax. I go, relax myself for recreational purposes. But we should know that why do I work? So that I can do my sadhana better. Because why? Then I have a comfortable place, a comfortable room, air conditioned potent, I can sit and do my sadhana. Why do I take rest? So that I can do my devotional activities better. Why do I go and why do I take care of my family? So that my spiritual sadhana does not get hindered. This we need to bring in. If we bring in this, that we center our life's purpose to our spiritual growth, and everything else becomes an enabler only. That is the way we should think. Those are only enablers. If we get caught up in that, then we will lose the center. We should not get caught up in the enabler. Understand this. Those are enablers. Why are you taking care of your family? So that you can do this better. If you're getting caught up in taking care of your family and you're losing the center, then there is a trouble there. We have to relook, reorganize ourselves. Right? Center, let's not lose the center. And this is what is important from here. The Bhagavan is saying that if you bring in that center within you, then you will experience the God presence here. The pada will be experienced here. The amsha will be experienced here. So with that, we close today. Etavanasya mahima ato jyayagischa purushah padosya vishwa bhutani tripadasya mritan divi tripadurdhva udait purushah padosyeha bhavat punah tato vishwang vyakramat sashana nashane abhi. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikaye iti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami Hari Om Tat Satgurubhyo Deva.